In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, amen. I want to start with a question for you. Have you ever grown up with something that you've heard it your whole life? Or you just kind of grew up with as just something you got used to hearing about your whole life, and you never thought a little bit deeper as to why or what was the purpose or the meaning behind whatever that thing is. Let me give you an example. Anyone here heard of the Constitution? The U.S. Constitution? Okay. You heard of the Bill of Rights? Okay. So, the Bill of Rights, the framers, when they established the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, they wrote it for a very important reason. Okay? And I'm going to read to you the Second Amendment, and I want you to tell me why. Anyone here know about which one is the Second Amendment?
Right to bear arms.
The right to bear arms. Excellent. Let me read it for you. And I'd like you to kind of give me an idea as to why the framers put in this Second Amendment. It says here, Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Why did the framers find it important to put this as the second freedom behind only freedom of religion and freedom of speech and freedom to assemble? Why do you think? Any guesses? Huh? Because of what happened to them when they were in England before they came here. And actually, because of what happened to them, we hear about the Second Amendment and, the 10 Amendments and the Declaration and all this stuff, but oftentimes we don't think about it in the context of when it was written and what's really behind it. Let me read you a quote here from Thomas Jefferson. He says, "The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government." Okay? So, the framers, when they established that Second Amendment, it was for them to protect themselves against tyranny in government. Okay? It wasn't about protecting themselves from their next door neighbor. They were really saying is that when the government grows to a certain size, becomes tyrannical, imposes itself upon the people, and the people as a last resort should protect themselves in that way. Okay? Let me transition to why we're here tonight and the season that we're in. Why do we celebrate Christmas? We've grown up, the vast majority of us, celebrating Christmas our entire lives, right? Every year. Every year. Some of us twice a year, okay? Why do we celebrate Christmas then? It's the birth of Christ. Okay? Why do we celebrate Christmas? The first couple hundred years of the church, they actually didn't celebrate Christmas. Why do we celebrate Christmas?
Because it's to counter the pagan. They started it on the same day as a pagan holiday to have something for the Christians to do.
Okay. They did it on the 25th in order to counter the pagan holiday. Possible why they picked that date. That's one of the theories. There's a couple of theories as to why that date, but that's one of the popular ones. But why celebrate Christmas? What's so significant about Christmas? I asked someone one time, why are we celebrating Christmas? He said, because we're celebrating Jesus' birthday. That's cute and all, but that's not the reason why we celebrate Christmas. Jesus doesn't need us to celebrate his birthday. Okay? You were going to say something.
Yeah, it's the day that it's the day where God actually appeared in flesh, and he is the purpose for us to have the salvation.
Beautiful. The reason we celebrate Christmas, and if you want to look back at all of the writings you'll find in the church, especially those first 4 or 5 centuries, and especially during the golden period of the 4th and 5th century, you'll find everything they were talking about was the incarnation of Jesus Christ. And why it was so significant is because, as our sister just said, it was the day that God took flesh. I was at St. John's University about a week and a half ago, and they were doing something called Festival of Lights. Festival of Lights used to be, because St. John's is a Catholic university, used to be a day where they would come together and all the different Christian organizations on campus would come and they would celebrate Christmas and, the birthday of Jesus Christ, okay? And so this year, though, they did something a little bit different. They opened it up to all of the religions on campus. And I had the pleasure of speaking right after a Jewish rabbi, which was an oddity in itself. But one of the things that I shared, and it was so interesting, the response that I got from people on this point. This icon up here, what's this icon of? This is the icon of who? 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 It's not the icon of St. Mary. It's not the icon of Christ. It's not the icon of St. Mary and Christ. It's called the icon of... Huh? It's not written on there, I know. But it's the icon, and it's really important because this icon right here is a stamp that you will see in any Orthodox church you walk into. Any Orthodox church. All over the world, you'll see an icon very similar to this one. And it's called the icon of not the Madonna, the Mother of God, the Theotokos. Okay? This icon right here is not known as the icon of St. Mary or the icon of Christ. It's known as the icon of, not of the Mother of Christ, but the Mother of God, the Theotokos. I want to take you back about 1,600 years ago. The Third Ecumenical Council. We all have heard of this. Council of Ephesus, brilliant. 431 AD. There was a great patriarch from Alexandria. His name was? Who? No, great patriarch. Yes, Nestorius, I said great though. Nestorius was there, but a great man who went on to be the patriarch. Athanasius was at the first council. Cyril of Alexandria. Cyril of Alexandria was there. He was debating with a fellow named Nestorius. Okay? And Nestorius was basically saying that Jesus, he's kind of like, he's a man. Okay? He's Christ. He's just a man. And Cyril was saying, no, he's God. And the big debate was, do we call St. Mary Theotokos or Christotokos? Right? Was the debate really about St. Mary? No. The debate was about who? It's about Jesus Christ. Is he God or not? This was the big debate. This was the big point of contention. And this was what all the ruckus was about. Is Jesus God? When we talk about the Theotokos, ultimately what we're saying is that when we look at this icon here, that God became man. That God took flesh from St. Mary. The divine one who was eternally begotten of the Father, he came and was born of St. Mary. Okay? Why is this significant? Because this is the reason why we celebrate Christmas. The question is not why, rather, but who we celebrate. We always think about the why or the when. But it's the who. The who is God becoming man. And this is really important for us. I want to take you to the Theotokos. Where did the Theotokos come from? Ahab Helvesaden. What book are they in?
John.
What book are the Theotokos in? What book is this? Psalm of the Day. Excellent. Okay. This wasn't a trick question. You're like thinking 3 layers deeper.
Like a book from the Bible that is coming from.
I'm not sure which denomination. Okay. So let me take you to the Friday Theotokos. And then I want to share with you a few of the titles of St. Mary as to the why we celebrate. And because the who is Jesus has a lot to do with our own salvation. And ultimately, the last question I want to pose to you guys is, how do we share in this life? How do we share in this life? Because ultimately,